Get ready to get sticky. Hey everybody, welcome back for part 2 of my conversation with Longinus. If you do not listen to the previous episode, please go back and listen because this is just a continuation. As a reminder, please rate, review, subscribe, follow, on whatever platform you're listening on. Go like Sticky Situations page on Facebook. Go follow Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram. Follow Sticky Situations Pod on TikTok. If you would like to be a guest on my podcast, or if you would like to date any of me or any of the guests that I've had, please reach out. You can either DM me on Instagram at Sticky Situations Pod, or you can email me at stickysituationspod@gmail.com. So go back, listen to our previous episodes. Stay tuned for some upcoming episodes. They're really great. I have some really great stuff coming your way, so stay tuned. And without further ado, here's part 2.
It does remind me, well, it doesn't actually remind me of another story, but I've just had this other story in my head. I don't even know how to introduce this. Alright, let's just put this out there, ladies. I'm straight as an arrow, 100% straight. Do I appreciate the male form? Absolutely. Like, who doesn't, right? Like, do I see the Mona Lisa and I'm just like, I could do better? No. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful painting. So similarly...
You know the Mona Lisa is a female form.
Right, I'm just saying something beautiful. Right?
Oh, okay.
So if I see, a good-looking guy, I'm going to be like, wow, he's really good-looking. But it's not like I'm thinking, man, I wish I could pork that guy. So just want to put that out there. But having said that, I have had an experience on multiple dating apps, one of which is Grindr. Now, it's not the conventional Grindr experience, and if you're thinking, wow, I was really into this Longinus guy, but now I'm absolutely not because, I'd be barking up the wrong tree, please don't think that, because I was not on the Grindr for that reason. There was a different reason why, and I'll explain. Okay, so this also actually happened during the summer of Longinus, believe it or not. And if you don't believe it, then okay. But so I was back home with my friends from growing up, and there was one friend in the group that we would always mess with. Like, he was, the butt of the jokes, and he took it like a champ. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. So we'd find out different ways to mess with him, and so the theme of messing with him this summer was I would steal his phone, and the password to it was always like 777 or 111. So I'm like, okay, you're asking for me to break into it and wreak havoc. So I stole his phone that summer, and I changed, the display language to something like Urdu, which is like impossible to read, and I changed the Siri language to Spanish. So that way when he's trying to get Siri to, do things for him, he's like yelling like, "Inglés, por favor!" So, lots of fun. We have our laughs, great. It's July 4th weekend, so we're all chilling together, our friends, me and my friends, and like, okay, his phone's just lying out there on the countertop. Like, I have to steal it and do something, but I can't just do the same thing that I've always been doing because, that's boring, it's uninspired, it's derivative. I have to push the envelope. I have to go the distance. I have to break new ground here, blaze a new trail, if you will. So this is my plan. My plan is, what I do is I steal his phone. I download Grindr onto the phone. I then make him a Grindr account. Now, out of respect for him, and so that I wasn't going too far, I didn't put his real name on. I put his Starbucks name, which is just a garbled up version of his name, so it was just, something Newman, right? I don't put any pictures on because, again, I'd be going too far. I then download Grindr onto my phone, and the plan is for me to make an account and just harass him on there. Now, the account which I make is, I wanted to just really intimidate him, bother him. So I Google a picture of topless black mirror selfie, and I find this picture of this really buff black guy just taking a topless mirror selfie. And I name him Patrice Jackson. And he's like a 260-pound, like 6'6" guy. His bio was a big black guy with a big black hog looking for some big love. And the goal is to match his account with Patrice's and then just start sending him messages. I thought I would have to have my friend's phone on my person in order to make the match happen, right? Send the request, accept the match. Not so, apparently, because on Grindr, I didn't know this, the way that matching works is it's purely location-based. So you see who's within a certain however many mile radius of you. It'll show you a bunch of different people. You can click on their profile, and then you can just start messaging them right away. Like, they don't have to acknowledge that they want to accept your stuff. I'm like, whoa, this is new. So I
wonder if it's changed since then.
I don't know. I'm not downloading it again, though.
I'm not going to download it either.
Even for science, I wouldn't do it.
For the podcast.
Yeah. So I give him the phone back. I then start messaging him as Patrice from my phone. Just like little things like, Newman's your last name. That's Jewish, right? Always wanted to try it circumcised.
Oh my God.
So I'm just so I'm sending him stuff like that, but I'm getting no reaction. And I'm like, to my friend later, I'm like, so, did you check your phone? Like, containing myself, like, all, like, I'm so funny. And he's like, yeah, I saw that you downloaded Grindr into my phone. I just deleted it right away. Because I'm like, God damn it. Like, I really thought, I was going to get him with all these notifications. Nothing. Now, I look at my phone all of a sudden, and it is lighting up. Okay? People are really liking Patrice. Like, really liking Patrice. And I realized, holy crap, I've inadvertently made a catfishing account. And, again, this was my first time on Grindr. And now my experience with other dating apps is, when you match with someone, like, you say, hey, or what's up? Or maybe it's something in response to, their little bio or descriptions about them. And maybe, people will be a little bit aggressive and will say something a bit on the more flirtatious side. With all of the messages which I received on Grindr, they did not dispense with these pleasantries. They rather dispensed with these pleasantries, and they just straight up started sending me pictures of their butts. Like, it was just like...
You can send pictures on Grindr?
Yup. And it's not even like, are you sure you want to open this? It's just like, nope, here's some guy's butthole.
You want to know why?
Sure.
Because this was an app designed for men, probably by men.
Probably.
And there's no women on there to be like, sexual harassment.
Right. I mean, yeah, so many possibilities for why that's the case. I'm like,
wait, does it have a female option on Grindr, or it's strictly homosexual?
I've not explored it enough, not going to again. But the story's not over yet.
Okay.
Because I'm like, oh my God, like, this is going to be perfect. This is how much of a space cadet my friend is, by the way. I steal his phone again, break into it again. I put the Patrice account on his phone, slip it in. So that way, I don't even need to do any of the harassing. The harassing is just going to happen from, local men who are into Patrice. And within like 5 or 10 minutes, my friend comes storming at me, and like he grabs me by the collar of my shirt, and he's like, do you have any idea how many pictures of bleached assholes I've seen? And I'm like, how many? Too many! And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, his face is red. He's like sweating, and he's so angry. And he's like, Grr! I'm like, yeah, but it's funny. And he's like, oh yeah, it is. And so we laughed about it, and that was it. But that's my experience with Grindr, and I thought it would be appropriate to share on this veritable podcast on dating experiences.
I got catfished once.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you know it was a catfish?
Actually, I got catfished a few times.
Wait, so how'd you know it was a catfish?
Oh, so I didn't... When I say I got catfished, I got messaged by catfishers. And after the first time... Well, okay. The first time was on Instagram. Some guy DM'd me, and he was like, claimed to be a soldier and thought I was beautiful and all this. But then his English wasn't so good, and I'm like, this is definitely not real.
Yeah.
So I figured that out pretty quickly, but I was like, okay, I like this attention. The thing about me is I like attention.
Yeah.
Which got me into trouble with my next story, where I actually got catfished. I was actually kind of scared. I was scared about this one. Okay, so I'm going to preface this with the fact that at some point over the pandemic, I got put into this WhatsApp group where somebody then messaged me from it who was a real person. We had phone conversations and video calls. I will talk about him a different time because that's a different story in and of itself.
Are we going to hear it on this podcast?
Yes, you'll hear it on this podcast. You have to stay tuned. Is
it going to happen on this episode while I'm here?
Probably not, because I feel like you have more to say. But I will talk about this guy because he also resurfaced again at some point, and he's just crazy. I think he's actually like a sociopath or a psychopath. I mean, I can't diagnose mental conditions, but I'm pretty sure
I took a psych AP class in high school, and I majored in psychology in college, so I can diagnose it.
Okay.
So
well,
I'll just diagnose him now and say he's a sociopath.
Yeah, it's a story for a different time, which I will get to because it's one of my better stories from over COVID. But anyway, because I had this experience, even though he was a psychopath, I knew he was a real person. And for like the few days that I was like kind of into him before he showed his psychopathic tendencies, I was like, oh, like maybe like this wasn't such a bad thing being in this WhatsApp group for like a hot second. I did subsequently exit the WhatsApp group. I talked to a couple other guys from there, and nothing ever came from it. But I was like, okay. So I was like, for a while after that, like I sometimes got random texts from these guys who were in the WhatsApp group. I might have gotten added back. Maybe I muted it. I don't really know.
Neither do I.
I don't know. I was stupid over COVID. I was stupid and bored. Because I was just trapped.
It's a great combination.
I was trapped in my apartment and I was just stupid and bored.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm stupid and bored now. It's terrible.
I'm stupid and bored a lot of times.
Yeah.
Right now I'm just like, I'm not at the moment like actively trying to be stupid and bored, but I do fall into the stupid and bored tendencies.
Yeah.
COVID though was the peak of my stupid and bored.
Right.
Peak of it. I talked to also for me.
Well, also because like with COVID, like you could have these long-term online correspondences with people, and you would very rarely have to worry about, I guess, any face-to-face repercussions because everyone was far away. So like it was perfect for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like okay, I did date some real people over COVID, not so many, and I had a lot of video calls too. I became a master of getting off of the phone for video calls.
Oh, really? Did you, like, pretend someone was not and be like, be there in a sec?
No, so this one guy... Okay, I'm digressing from my original story, but this is real quick.
Baby.
So, this one guy wanted to talk. He was actually kind of aggressive. We matched on a dating app, and he's like, can I take you out for dinner tonight? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't know you. We're in a global pandemic, and, like, I'm not... If you think I'm getting dressed and leaving my apartment, you are seriously mistaken. I was like, we could have a video call. He's like, fine. So we arranged a time for a video call. So I went into this video call already promising my roommates that I would watch a movie with them. So I was like, guys, they were like, okay, you have a half an hour. So I went in being like, okay, I have a half an hour. Maybe it was 10 minutes. No, I think it was like a half an hour. I go on, and the guy did not tell me anything about himself beforehand, which I'm glad I did not agree to a real date, because, and this is why you should always do the screening process of having a video call or just a regular phone call before you go out in person, which I learned this lesson over COVID, which have I strictly followed since COVID ended? No, but it's just, that's when I get my stories. So when I'm trying to be serious, I try to have like a real call. So, okay, I get on the call with this guy. He did not tell me before the call that he was deaf.
What?
And like, there's no other way of putting it. I don't know if he was fully deaf. He told me like right as we got on the call, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Having a handicap is totally fine, but I just think it needs to be disclosed because now you're talking to the girl who mumbles and talks really fast.
Right. Like it's also something that will affect the interaction. Like
yeah.
Even if you are sensitive to that kind of thing, you know, it's definitely going to catch you off guard because it's not something that you expect.
It just needs to be disclosed. If I had something about me that you couldn't see from looking at my pictures, I would tell them. Like, honestly, when I give guys my phone number even, I warn them, and this is a stupid warning. It's just one time I got scarred. I tell them, like, if I give them my number, I'm like, it's going to be a green text. I don't have an iPhone. So, like, and that's a deal breaker for some guys. So, you know what?
I get so much crap for that, and most of the time, I'm also a green phoner.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think most of the shade is in jest, but that's insane.
Do you know one guy, I gave him my number on the app, he messages me back on the app, he's like, no iPhone? And I'm like, okay, so bye. But wait, now we're like in a story.
Yeah.
But okay, so this guy, he didn't tell me he was deaf. And like, I am just not having it. I'm like, you can't just spring this on me. You're like, oh yeah, I can read lips. I'm like, you can't read my lips. I mumble and I talk really fast. So like, anything I would say, he's like, can you talk slower? I'm like, no. My natural, and I'm trying to talk slow for this podcast, but my natural speed is fast. I listen to podcasts at 3.5 speed. Like, I speak quickly. So after like 2 minutes, I was like, this isn't a good idea. I was like, sorry, my roommates are calling me. They need me right now. I was off in 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
And then he like ghosted me. Then I sent him a nice message. I'm like, hey, I just don't think this is going to work out. After a 2.5 minute phone call. And he just ghosted me. I'm like, you can't be mad when you didn't warn me. But wait, okay. So anyway, I'm bored. I'm feeling bored and I want attention. So this is my theme over COVID. So
wait, are we on to psychopath guy?
No, psychopath guy, the story isn't happening right now. A different time maybe. Or later. We'll see. So, no, this is after psychopath. Also, you have to remember, this is when I worked in public accounting and I was in busy season. So my life is just straight up, like, if you could be in a more depressed state of being without being physically actually depressed, that would be me at this moment in time. Because I am locked up in my apartment where my old roommates would not let me have anyone over, questioned everywhere I went, and also I didn't have any time to go anywhere or anywhere to go because it was a global pandemic and they had me scared of everything that I would bring back COVID to them. But also I was working like 60, 70 hours a week. Like, I left my apartment once a week. Like, no joke, I went outside once a week. Which is not healthy. But anyway, so you're seeing my state of mind. So anything I can get to get me to focus on something else. So what was that? Dating apps. Because I like attention and I was bored and I was miserable with my own life.
I'm just going to interrupt you briefly. Like, I had to I didn't just delete Hinge from my phone. Like, I deleted my profile from Hinge the other day because I was just swiping on it, like, way too compulsively. It was just eating, and, like, byproduct of being bored. But it was just, like, it was so bad. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be bored, I need to fill the time with something else, because this is not a good way to go.
Yeah. I'm not saying that this was a good way of spending my time.
Yeah, I'm not judging. No. I'm just saying, like, you know, for myself.
No, I'm judging myself. I was like, wow, you're dumb. Like, you're dumb.
You're stupid how?
Yeah, basically. So this guy sends me a text, and like, I'm just so bored and like craving attention that when he sends me this text, I was like, oh, I didn't think anything of it. And he's like, hey, I think we matched on a dating app previously. And he like tells me, and I'm like, could be. I don't know. I've done a lot of swiping these days. I gave my number out to a lot of guys. Some of them may or may not have texted me because at some point I was just tired of being on the app. I was like, can you just text me? Like, this app doesn't work. I didn't get notifications. It was just quicker. So I didn't think anything of it. And he starts telling me about his life. I think he said he was Israeli. He had an Israeli name. And I was like, okay. He might have even
What's his name for the story?
I don't remember.
Let's call him Nimrod.
He doesn't need a name.
Yes, he does.
Nimrod, fine. He can be Nimrod. So he's messaging me, and I think he even sent me some voice notes. Like, I heard his voice. he sent me a couple pictures of himself, like, face, and I'm like, oh.
Just the face.
For now.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, he's cute. And he's like, and we're talking and vibing, and I'm like, oh, like, maybe this is actually good. But then he starts telling me some weird stuff.
Like what?
About how, like, his family, he didn't know he was Jewish, so he was uncircumcised. And this is, I apologize if this gets a little inappropriate for this podcast. It's not meant to be that way. And then he's like, have you ever seen one that's uncircumcised? And I'm like, wait, I don't want to engage further on this. Then he proceeds to send me a picture. So, of course, what do?
Wait, how big was it?
It couldn't have been real.
Why?
It couldn't have been real.
Why?
It could not have been real.
No. I get why I get you're saying that, but why?
Size,
like
everything.
Was it like huge,
small?
small?
Yeah.
It was huge.
So what did I do? I immediately run to my roommate's room and show her the picture. And then my other roommate, I think she was working from home that day too. Oh, they might have had off work. Was it a weekend? I can't remember. I worked on the weekend.
I wasn't there.
I worked on the weekend. It might have been a weekend.
Sure,
I worked
weekends.
weekends though. Or they had off of work,
okay.
Or she had off of work, or she was working from home, or something. Because my other roommate went to work at that point in time. So then she runs out of her room. She's like, I want to see. Oh, wait, no. She was working from home, teaching preschool in the other room. And I'm running to my other roommate's room to show her the picture while the other roommate is teaching preschool in the other room. So I was like, I just, like, didn't know what to say to that. So what does he do? He sends me another picture. And I'm like, this can't be real.
Do you see balls as well?
So I have deleted everything off of my phone, and I don't want to be too graphic.
Right.
But
this is just...
But it's forever...
We just need to... Look, Rachel, I know this is your podcast, but we need to paint a picture for the listeners.
This is forever burned into my memory.
Yeah.
The first picture, he was semi-clothed, and there might have been something coming out of his clothing. He was wearing very little shorts. The second picture was full on, like straight on, like, whole body, like, he's like, I just got out of the shower thinking of he literally said, just got out of the shower thinking of you, and I'm like, this escalated very quickly, and I don't understand how I got myself into this situation. Because I didn't ask for this. And when he sent
but I'm sure you implied it somehow.
No, and when he sent
What were you wearing when he sent you this?
I was definitely wearing sweatpants and a dirty t-shirt.
Oh yeah, you were asking for it.
So, but also, when he sent the first picture, I was like, hey, like, I'm not really looking for that. Like, I'm looking for, like, something real. I'm not interested in having an inappropriate conversation or an inappropriate relationship. So, fine. Then he's, like, insistent on meeting up with me that night or having a video call. And mind you, I'm working, like, 14-hour days. So I was like, there is no way I'm meeting up with you tonight. I was like, maybe we can have a call, but, like, I don't want anything inappropriate. I want a real relationship. So, how stupid am I? Like, why would if a guy is already starting to say that stuff, he's looking for only one thing, and I've learned my lesson since. And I think I knew my lesson, but again, I was stupid and bored and wanted attention. So we're texting a little more throughout the day. My day gets busier because, you know what, I have work, and my work it was busy season. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of work. So I didn't answer him for a few hours. And then I get a text from another unknown number. And this guy had a not Jewish name. We'll call him Mohammed.
That's very not Jewish.
Yeah, I think it was something around that. Maybe it was like Tariq or something. He was not Jewish. So then he was like,
how did they get your number?
I don't know. So then he sent essentially the same message. He was like, hey, I have your number saved in my phone, Rachel from J Swipe, and then like an age. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. The other guy, I was like, he had an Israeli name. So I was like, okay, I can kind of picture myself matching with this guy, giving him my number and forgetting that I gave it to him. I would remember a guy named Tarek getting my number.
It's pretty weird.
And I was like, you're not real. You're just a catfish. I was like, I did not. What are you doing? And at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm like, then the other guy is also real, not real. And then I'm like spiraling. And then I run to my roommates. And so I told the other guy, I'm like, I don't remember matching with you. I'm not interested in talking to you. Whatever. And then he gets sassy. And then the other one starts sending. And then I freak out. And I'm like, wait, I think, is someone trying to hack me? Did someone hack into JSwipe and get my phone number? My phone number isn't even associated with JSwipe. So I don't know how they would have gotten my number. So then the other guy, I freaked out. I'm like, this other guy isn't real either. He's also messing with me. So I send him a message. I'm like, hey, not interested. And then he sends me a video.
Wait, this is Israeli guy?
Israeli guy.
Nimrod?
Yeah, Nimrod.
So you saw Nimrod's scepter, if you will?
Yeah, he sent me a video of him doing some stuff. I don't actually think I watched the video. I think I just showed my roommates. We might have... I don't know if we watched it. I feel like I just saw...
What was he doing in the video?
I feel like I just saw the thumbnail of the video, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. And then I blocked him. And then I freaked out that I was being cyberstalked.
I mean, you're still here, so...
Yeah, I'm still here.
Fine.
And Nimrod hasn't messaged me since. But yeah, that was like... And then after that, I was like, okay, I gotta be smarter about this. So then I've gotten some other catfish messages after that. This one guy messaged me, and then I learned how to do the reverse Google image search.
Oh, interesting. That's a useful trick.
So this guy messaged me. He sends me a picture. He's like, I know our age is far apart. He was literally in his 50s. And I was like, I'm not interested, but I kind of want to mess with the catfish.
Yes.
And I like reverse Google image searched the picture, and he picked some like South American telenovela star or something as his picture. And I'm like, and then I think he was in Nigeria, and I don't remember how I knew that. But now when I get these messages, I just block them. So, was I stupid? Yes. But I think I was just bored. So the moral of that story is, fill your boredom with other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but you're alive, so...
I'm alive. No, luckily, I did not meet him in person. I don't think I would have been that stupid.
No. It's,
Like, I've done stupid things, but most of them haven't been, like, in person.
Yeah, in person is, like, another level.
Yeah.
In person is, like, it gets real. Wait, can you tell me about the psychopath?
Fine. You want to hear the psychopath?
Yes!
But do you have more stories you want to share, too?
I have, like, it's not like I had one which I forgot, I should have written it down, and then, like, I just have one about, like, little mannerisms.
Okay.
And stuff, but...
Fine, I'll tell you about the psychopath. You want to give him a name?
I
usually just call him by his real name, but I'm not going to say his real name.
Let's call him Teddy.
Teddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
His last name's Bundy.
Okay, Teddy. So, Teddy, the story of Teddy. Okay, let me set the stage. This is January 2020.
Oh, that's good.
No, not 2020. January 2021.
Oh, that was a great month.
January 2021.
Great month.
So, I'm going to set the stage for you in my personal life. I hadn't dated so much. I briefly went out with a guy, like, November time that ended, like, end of November, beginning of December. And after that, I was just like, okay, now busy. I was in my, like, pre-busy season slump. I was just like, and it was more than usual of a funk. Like, should I have, like, sought out mental help at this point in life? Probably.
Nah.
But, like, it was fine. I was just in a funk. Everyone knew I was in a funk. I was trapped in my apartment because my roommates wouldn't let me leave. Well, they would let me leave. They didn't actually trap me. But they just, like, questioned me on where I went. And
you're modern day Rapunzel.
It was hard to get anywhere where I lived, and I didn't take the subway at that time because of COVID, and I couldn't have anyone over. And I was like, what's the point in even dating? Because I'm going to start this relationship. Like, best case scenario, I start a relationship that I can't maintain because it's about to be busy season, and my roommates are psycho with this COVID thing. So even if I do start dating someone, they're not going to let me have him over. So I was like, oh, whatever. So we'll just be bored and seek attention. And I was just in a funk. And I was always in a funk leading up to busy season because my life was about to become literally just work. I have since quit that job and I have a new job.
Woo.
So, yeah. So, anyway. So, busy season's about to start. One morning in January, I wake up to a text. And I had told you I got put into this WhatsApp group. This random WhatsApp group. I was like, nothing's going to come of it, but okay. Might as well try. Because I go through phases of being really hopeful and trying everything I can and complete and utter despair.
Try it out.
So, this guy sends me a message from the group. He tells me exactly who he is. He's like, hi, my name is Teddy. I'm 32 years old. I live in this place. He lived in Israel. He's like, I'm from this place. And I saw you in the group. I thought you were really cute. So I wanted to say hi. Here's a picture of what I look like. So he sends like a normal looking picture of himself, like headshot, whatever. Nothing inappropriate.
Plot twist. He was a centaur.
No.
So he had a horse for his bottom half.
No. It might have been a full body picture, but it wasn't inappropriate. He was fully clothed. Nothing inappropriate going on. I'm like, wow. This is actually kind of nice. Like, he told me exactly who he is. Didn't, like, wasn't vague. Like, not a random number sending me a text. Hey, this was also before I had my incident that I just told you guys about.
Right.
So, okay. So we start chatting, and he answers very quickly. And, like, for the next few days, we're talking, like, basically from the time I wake up until the time he went to bed.
Nice.
Because he's in Israel. And I would wake up to a text from him, and he would always, like, say goodnight before he went to bed, which is about my 4 p.m. Fine. So, for a few days, it continues like this. And then things start to get a little bit interesting. And so we're talking nonstop. He called me, we talked, like, on the phone and video chat and things like that. He would talk while I was working. I wasn't busy season yet. And we were just talking a lot. It was literal nonstop communication for those hours of the day.
Sweet.
Which, for someone who likes attention and craves attention, like, listen, I don't need constant attention, but I do like it sometimes.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? I mean, sometimes it's too much. And, like, since in my year and a half of maturing since then, I've learned that, like, I don't always need constant attention because, like, I'm also busy. And, like, it's better to not have constant attention and just have, like, real attention than this, like, fake, weird, constant attention. But anyway, I was enjoying the constant attention. So we're talking for a few days, and then his grandmother passes away. And, like, you're in a weird position when, like, somebody goes through a tragedy and, like, you're talking to them as if, like, you're trying to become close to them, but you're not close to them yet. It's just a weird position to be in. So I'm like, I'm really sorry for your loss. Like, I'm here if you want to talk. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm sure, like, if he's really going through things, he wants to talk to his friends and his family.
He really took you up on it?
Like, he does not want... No, he didn't really. Like, he doesn't want to talk to me, but, like, I put the offer out there anyway. And, like, you know what? Maybe people can bond over this. Like, looking back, like, if this does turn into something real, like, okay, I was supportive of him. So fine, takes time off from messaging me, and then after that, like, after a couple of days, he starts messaging more again. And he's like, you're so sweet, and the way you handled that was so great. He just, like, kept saying how great I was and how he's developing all these feelings for me. Mind you, we've been speaking for, like, a week. And then, like, he starts to tell me that he loves me, and I'm like, no, sir. No, sir. No, sir, you do not love me. You do not know me. You cannot tell me that you love me because you don't. Like, there's no way that you love me.
That's weird.
It was weird. And then he's like, you know, we can be together. He's like, I know, like, and also, mind you, I'm having fun with this because the borders are closed. There is no way he is coming to America. And, like, he can't get into America. He can't get back into Israel. Like, borders are closed. And he's not an American citizen. So, borders are very closed at this point. So, this was very safe on my end because it's not like he could come and find me.
Right.
So, he's saying, he's like, we can make this work. Like, this can work. He's like, you know what? Like, borders will be open in a few months. Like, he was only planning on being in Israel through the summer. Like, he was planning on coming back after the summer. He's like, who knows, like, maybe I can come to New York, like, we can, like, once borders open, like, we can meet in person, and, like, we can do this for real, like, and honestly, I don't think long distance is impossible. I think, like, at least for me personally, I don't want to stay in New York anyways, so, like, if I meet a really great guy who doesn't live in New York, and we're both committed on making the relationship work, and he's the right person, I can do long distance, and then leave New York, or we go somewhere else together, like, it could work. And so in my mind, I'm like, wait, this could work, but also, like, I'm totally safe because borders are closed.
Right.
So these were the conflicting thoughts in my mind. I wasn't developing real feelings. We had only been talking for a week. But when somebody's telling you all these nice things about you and telling you that they love you, I didn't believe them, though. It's like, I don't know. But when they're saying, like, oh, I want to make this work, you believe them sometimes.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe, I have issues that I need to work through, but when I hear that kind of thing, like, so
No. I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay hearing that, I don't know, like, a good number of weeks into things.
I was taken aback by it. Like, okay. The guy who I guess he was kind of my ex, but when I refer to my ex, I refer to, like, my ex-boyfriend. This was a guy I dated right after my ex-boyfriend, who I dated for a couple months. He, like, after a few dates and talking for a little while, he's like, I really like you. And I think that was normal.
Yeah.
But, like, for this guy to tell me he loves me after, like, a few days of talking, less than a week, or maybe a week, I was like, okay, this is crazy. But also, at the same time, I'm stupid and bored. And there were countries, continents, borders, like, this wasn't going to happen. Like, nothing was going to happen to me.
Right.
So I was kind of fearless with this. So whatever. I told him not to say it. I told him I don't believe it. He's like, okay, I won't say it. I'll just keep my feelings to myself right now, and we'll see how this goes. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know what? Crazier things have happened. Like, I have heard of people who get married after 9 days of dating. And, like, they've been married for 30 years. But, like, okay, fine. So then we start talking more. And one Saturday night, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I guess he had just woken up on Sunday. He messaged me and I was still awake. He's like, why are you still awake? So we talk on the phone. And we're just like, we're talking and, like, planning this hypothetical trip with him coming to see me in New York. Nothing crazy was going on in this conversation. I was like, yeah, like, we'll find you somewhere to stay. We can make, like, Shabbos meals. I'll take you on a tour of, like, New York City. We can walk around. We can go to, like, I think indoor dining was still closed at this point. But I was like, hopefully things will be open again. We can go to the nice restaurants. Like, we could just have, like, a nice visit. And talking about it, like, it could happen. But also, like, even if it did happen, it wasn't that crazy of a thing. Like, you come to New York and visit me, and you take me on a date. And, like...
Right, but he's coming just for you?
Like, we spend time together. I don't know. I was more thinking in the future. Remember, borders are still closed. I was more thinking in a future type of setting when he moves back from Israel.
Right.
And, like, I think he told me he has other friends in New York also. Like, whatever. I don't expect him to hop on a plane from Israel just to come and see me. But we were just talking about, oh, it could be nice. We could have a nice visit. We could have an actual date. Whatever. I might have gotten carried away too, but it wasn't anything that crazy. So then he's like, okay, it's getting late. You go to bed. Like, he's like, I have to go get ready for work because in Israel they work on Sundays. And he's like, you need to go to sleep. So I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning and I didn't have a text from him. And I was like, okay, this is weird. This was maybe like 2 weeks into talking. This was around 2 weeks into talking. So I didn't have a text from him and I'm like, this is strange. He's normally, like, very, like, into, like, texting me. Like, he'll talk to me. And then that day we, like, barely texted. Like, he would kind of answer my texts, but not really. And then I, like, took a break. And then, like, it was almost complete radio silence. And I'm like, what is happening? 2 days ago you were telling me you loved me, and now you're, like, ghosting me? So I sent him this message. I was like, hey, like, I don't know what's going on, but, like what's happening? Like, we're talking about, like, you're telling me how you want something real, and now you're just ghosting me? And then he's like, I think we got too carried away. We got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
And, like, he's like, I just freaked out. I was like, you're the one freaking yourself out. You're the one saying how, like, that you love me and you have real feelings for me. And I'm just telling you, like, oh, yeah, it might be nice in a few months from now, after talking and virtually dating for a few months, that you can actually come and meet me in person and take me out on a real date. I'm not telling you, like, what color our wedding's going to be and, like, how many kids we're... Oh, we kind of did talk about how many kids we wanted, but, like, not together. It was just, like, oh, in the future, like, how many kids do I theoretically want? It wasn't, like, us planning our future together. It was just, like, a conversation. Like, I'm not planning our future. The only thing I'm planning for is, like, if we're still talking in a few months, like, I would like you to come see me. Like, why is that so crazy? And I was like, listen, you're the one freaking yourself out. You're the one who said it. I am not part of this. So, like, you know what? We can either start over and, like, not go crazy, or just call it right here. So he's like, I think it's best if we call it right here. Fine. And I was just, like, mad. I was like, this is so weird. You're the one who did this, and now whatever. But I'm like, you know, probably for the best. He was crazy.
Probably.
He was psycho. Then
There's more?
there's more.
Oh, baby.
Fast forward.
How long?
December 2021.
That's a lot of time.
11 months later.
Good math.
Weird timing, too. Because I had just broken up with my boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend. We broke up mid-November 2021. And this was towards the beginning of December. Towards the beginning of December, I get a message. All the message says is, blast from the past. And I look, and I knew who it was. It was an Israel number. Because obviously I didn't save a number, but also he switched his Israeli phone. And I knew his WhatsApp picture. And this whole time, he was like, I was like, what do you want? And he's like, I want to try.
Answered him?
Yeah. I was in a place.
Right.
I was in a place.
Right, you just broke up.
I just broke up with my ex. And I was at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to, like, start dating again. I am craving some attention. And, like, what do you need after a breakup? Like, I did not heal. Kind of healed a little bit. I don't know. I'm just like, okay, now I just want attention again. Like, before I'm ready to, like, actually jump into something else real, I just want a little bit of attention. And I knew that's all I wanted from him. All I wanted was attention, because I'm like, this guy's a psychopath. I'm not going to fall for this twice. And I didn't. So I messaged him. I was like, why are you messaging me again? He's like, we had such a good he's like, we had such good chemistry, and, like, I messed it up. And I was like, yeah, you did mess it up. And, like, so we were texting, and he was giving me attention, and I was liking it a little bit, but I was like, yeah, but, like, when you ghost me in 2 weeks, like, or whatever. And he was, like, starting to talk about it. He's like, oh, maybe I'll plan a trip to New York. I was like, let's see if you're still talking to me in 2 weeks.
Good
like,
for you.
Whereas 11 months ago, I was like, yeah, let's, like, plan something. This time I was like, nah, I know your pattern, buddy. 2 weeks and you're out. And, like, I also, like, in my relationship that I had just gotten out of, I was treated like a queen. He treated me very well. And I'm like, I'm not putting up with these stupid games. And it was weird. And you know what?
What?
After 2 weeks.
Oh.
After 2 weeks. Same thing. It was the exact same thing. On a Saturday night. I went to bed on a Saturday night. Maybe. Oh, Shabbat ended and I didn't have a text from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. Maybe he'll text me when he wakes up in the morning. Which is still my late Saturday night. No text. I sent him a text. No, actually I didn't. Did I send him a text? I don't remember.
Neither do I.
Sunday, at some point during the day, I messaged him. I was like, see, I was right. 2 weeks. And then he didn't answer that. And I was like, you know what? I was right. Never contact me ever again.
Good for you, girl.
And then all he messages back, he's like, I've just been really busy. And I don't believe that. Some people are really busy, but if you're busy, you make time or you apologize. Or
right,
like,
or you'll, like, preemptively say, I am going to be unavailable during these times.
Yeah.
So if you don't hear from me, I might be with another woman, but you'll at least think that I'm busy with something legitimate.
Yeah. I don't know. I knew it wasn't going anywhere anyways, and, like, I had already started talking to someone else.
Yeah.
Like, towards the end of this, like, exchange, I started talking to someone else who then I went out with and ended up dating for a couple months. And then this guy texted me again, Happy Purim, on Purim.
God damn this guy.
And that was the last I heard from him.
All right.
Like, I know he's going to pop up again.
Sure.
I'm just...
Was it a new number or the same number?
Same number. I'm just smart enough to, like, not fall for it, but at this point, I'm just kind of afraid he's going to come find me in New York City.
Did you give him your address?
No.
Look, you've survived this long.
It's also funny because, like, he talked to my roommate, too, and he was, like, more normal. Before our interaction, he talked to my roommate.
Oh, like...
On J-Swipe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because I told her, I was like, yeah, I have a new boyfriend named Teddy. Like, just joking. I didn't actually think he was my boyfriend. And she's like, you mean my Teddy? That I talked to in the summer? And I was like,
Guess he's just got a different girl for every season.
I don't know. She's like, oh yeah, we only talked for a couple days and then I ghosted him. And I was like, okay. But, yeah, okay. So, let's hear... You said you don't have another story, but you have your,
And look, I've got some, tips for, how to find a man. I mean, I'm also open to tips on, how to find.
Oh, we'll get to advice in a minute.
Well, no.
Well, your advice. I thought you had something else that you wanted to share.
I mean, it's like a mixture between advice versus just something that I guess I've noticed and can potentially be a piece of advice.
Okay.
Like when you're in a conversation with someone, when the other person is talking, it's important to listen to what they're saying. That's generally how a conversation works. And there are different ways to acknowledge that you are processing what they're saying. There was this one date that I was on, and Rachel, if you may, why don't you? I'm going to pretend to be this girl from this date, and you're going to pretend to be me. So just start telling me a story. So I can demonstrate what this girl did on this date.
Okay, so one time I dated a psychopath.
Yeah.
But we didn't really date.
Yeah.
But he love bombed me.
Okay. And
I don't know, maybe it could have been real, but then he told me he loved me, and then he ghosted me after 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, what you just heard was a pseudo reenactment of this one date which I was on, where the other person I don't even know what to call this person, maybe a yaya or something, a yaya, I don't know, but at every single pause, wherever there was a comma or just a little break in what I was saying, she would just go, yeah, and it was so disorienting. It was so annoying. So, I don't know, maybe some people out there are into that. I wasn't. Needless to say, I'm now married with 5 kids. With a pending divorce. But,
He's just kidding. He's single.
That's right, I'm single, and as far as I know, I don't have any children.
As far as you know.
As far as I know. I once said that to my dad. As far as I know, I don't have any, because he was like, I could be a grandfather? I'm like, maybe.
Maybe.
I've
said that before, and people give me a look. They're like, wouldn't you know if you have kids?
Well, those people just don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, screw that.
I was like, yes, I would remember giving birth, I would hope, unless I was drugged. Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe someone, took some of your eggs and fertilized them.
It's a longer process than just stealing them. I mean, they would have had to knock me out for days. Months? Weeks.
I don't know how this stuff works. Okay?
I don't really know either.
Anyway, all right. But that's basically just like one other tidbit that it's just felt like to share.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
So, Longinus.
Yes, Rachel.
I like to ask my guests when they come on if they have any tips of dating advice. Tips of advice.
Yes. You just gotta put out, okay, ladies? You need to put out, okay? If your man's not satisfied, whether this is a guy you're currently in a relationship with, whether this is some guy whose attention you want, whether this is some guy who you're dating, not officially relationshiped, and he's hesitant on taking it to the next level, just put out.
Longinus has given me this advice before. It happened to be in the synagogue.
It's an appropriate place for it.
Yeah, it was a while back. It was, I was newly single again and expressing my woes about dating, my woes and frustrations. This was what Longinus had to tell me.
Yeah, and now I'm telling it to the rest of Sticky Situation Nation. Okay?
Sticky Situation Nation.
Sticky Situation
I like
Nation.
that. Thank you, Longinus.
Yeah, no problem, Rachel. But yeah, I mean, look. When in doubt, just put out.
When in doubt, just put out.
When in doubt, just put out. You can make a bumper sticker out of that if you want. But yeah, I mean...
I'm kind of afraid to know.
No, I mean... Just have fun. Oh my god, wait, one last story.
Okay.
And then I'll be done. So several months ago, I was doing laundry, and I put my stuff in the dryer, take my stuff out of the dryer, and I dump the dryer load onto my bed, to fold, to sort, to stow. And in the load of clothes, I find 2 pairs of women's underwear. And they definitely were not for my laundry. I just want to make that very clear from the record. They're definitely not for my laundry. Not the type of guy. No judgment on the people who are those types of guys. But that's just not how I roll. They were probably left over from someone else in the dryer. So my roommate and I started what we call the Brotherhood of the Traveling Panties, where we'll just drape them over each other's stuff. Like, I'll walk into the bathroom and oh, what do you know? The panties are draped over the sink. I'll open up the fridge. Oh, look, it's in my yogurt drawer. He'll, go to his computer and it's just, folded over his monitor. Just classy stuff like that, because we are classy guys with a refined sense of humor. So...
His roommate's coming on the podcast also.
He's a great guy.
So, just letting you know.
Great guy.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, babies. But anyway, so I'm at this get-together with people, and it just so happens that this person that I used to go out with, not an ex-girlfriend, but someone I went out with for, was dating for a good number of weeks, is also at this get-together. And this is the first time I've seen her since then. And it's been 2-3 years. And I don't think, she was particularly happy when things dissolved, which is understandable. I don't begrudge anyone for being unhappy when something ends. But then, at this get-together, my roommate starts talking about the Brotherhood of the Traveling Panties, which is fine, except the way he tells the story is that the panties were from some nocturnal visitors that I had. And I'm like, usually I'm okay with it, and I'll correct him. But this girl that I had gone out with, I'm convinced, believed what he was saying. Oh my God, what does she think of me? She probably already doesn't like me because of, how things ended. What is she going to think of me now? It was great. I was definitely red as a tomato, as they say.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Do you still have the underwear?
Yeah, but I think we haven't hidden them for a while, which is unfortunate. We recently started seeing someone, and so we didn't want, ladies' underwear.
She doesn't know about it?
So she does know about it.
She's also going to come on the podcast.
She does know it now. But when she didn't know about it, he didn't want them, floating around the apartment. But recently, after I knew that she had learned about them, I did hide one of the pairs, because there are 2 pairs of undies. I hid one of them in his bed. And she was not happy.
But she knew.
Yeah, but for a split second, she forgot, and she was like, what? But it's all good now.
Maybe I'll ask her about it when she comes on the podcast. She's also coming on. Everybody, I have a great lineup of guests. So
Great lineup of guests, Sticky Situation Nation.
Yes. Okay, so Longinus.
Rachel.
As our the last thing we'll discuss, when I have all my guests, I like to have them come up with their Real Housewife taglines because, as all of you know by now, I love reality TV and I aspire to be a Real Housewife. So, Longinus, what would your Real Housewife tagline be?
Ladies, I eagerly await to hear from you for you to pilot my door and to begin wonderful correspondences with each and every one of you. But also remember, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make love.
I could probably see that being an actual Housewives tagline.
There you go.
So good job, Longinus.
Thank you, Rachel.
Longinus, do you have any other parting words for my listeners?
Just remember, kids.
Situation Nation.
Yeah. Kids, when in doubt, just put out.
Well, thank you so much, Longinus, for coming and being my guest on this podcast.
Honored to be here.
I hope all of you enjoyed listening to Longinus' stories and I guess my stories too. But my stories, you already know that you like them because that's why you're listening. But yes, so thank you very much. Thank you all for tuning in again. Remember to follow us on whatever platform you're listening on. If you're on Apple Podcasts, rate, review, subscribe. I think Spotify, you just have to hit the little follow button. And then you can like Sticky Situations, the page on Facebook. You can follow Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram. If you would like to be my guest, I'll plug this again. If you want to come on as a guest, or if you want to date any of the guests that I've had, or if you have potential advice questions, because we're going to maybe start a segment, we'll see. Please either email stickysituationspod@gmail.com or DM stickysituationspod on Instagram. Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time. Bye.